being at the Unity office today, and with the theme of the Flow Summit, I see the word flow everywhere,
Flow.
finding your flow, and then today's event where I just been going with the flow. I want to people people often find that they want to accomplish something, but sometimes they find it to be really really slow, and they're trying to figure out why is it so slow? What am I doing to slow it down? And I think with the theme of flow, being able to let go of the expectations, let go of trying to control things as much as you can, and just allow things to happen naturally and trust that things will work out. And I think, these little things that happen today, like, hey, let's go into the elevator, it didn't work. And so because it didn't work, we were able to meet.
Ravi Shankar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
What a
if it worked,
coincidence.
We would have never had the opportunity.
Yeah.
And yet, it was like almost divine timing. And we got mic'd up, and then I found out about the continuous continuous camera. I'm like, whoa! And then I'm asking Daniel for it, and it seemed like it was a sidetrack, right? Like where we're supposed to be going with. But I just went with it. I was really curious, and as of right now, I have no idea what's to come from it. All I know is I was really interested, and then he was kind enough to share his expertise on it, and now I know how to do it. Great. I have no idea what's gonna come from it, but that is what happens when we let go of trying to control the outcome. And I think we talked about it earlier. That line that you said of I forgot what it the way I usually say it is, we need to plan.
Yeah.
We always need a plan. If not, you don't know what to do. But don't be attached to the outcome of the plan. And you had a line about the fruits. What was it?
It was the Bhagavad Gita. It says you have right to the action, but not to the fruit of the action.
right.
So what it means is like you can have good intentions, and that's everything. You don't have right to the output and the thing that comes from it. So if you're a surgeon and you have well intentions to do a surgery on somebody, do an operation on somebody, and suddenly they die on the table, the output, the result is somebody's dead. But their intentions were good. They actually wanted to help somebody. So you do not have right to the fruits of the action. So what it means is actually like, hey, your intentions were well meant. But maybe somebody who has a knife and who does actually the same, who has the same knife like the surgeon, but kills somebody, there were, let's call it bad intentions, and the result is somebody's dead. The output, the result is the same on both sides, but it has a different karmic meaning
Mm-hmm.
because the intention was a different one.
Right.
I think if more people understood this concept, life would be so much easier. Opportunities are always around. Things are right there. Sometimes, that line, uh, sometimes like things look what's in front of you, because sometimes what you want is right there staring at you. We just don't see it. And I think that we come across that theme a lot today, and when we're talking about that. And I really find that to be so important, because people try so hard to create the life they want, to create the opportunities. And they try so hard to the point to where oftentimes they push it away, because they go, I'm trying, I planned, this is how it's supposed to be. No, 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 don't distract me. No, no, stop asking me. I'm focused. And let me do my thing, and then they find it doesn't work out, and it's so difficult. And there's such easier ways to get what we want in life if we learn how to be able to let go, be in the flow with how things happen. But I think the more important thing is, how does a person do that? How does a person get to that state? What allows a person to be able to do that? Because I think when somebody hears that, they kind of agree and they want to do it. And to be able to do that, a person has to let go of fear.
Yeah.
They have to not be afraid. Something that I tell people, it's basically the same thing, but I say it in a way. I say, be okay with doing a crappy job.
I love this.
Be okay with doing a crappy job, because if you're okay with it, then what's the worst you're going to do? A pretty crappy job at something. But if you're okay with it, then you're not afraid. You'll just go for it. And the worst case when you go for something is you'll do a really bad job.
So what? I love it because when you say like being okay with it, wouldn't you say that every action that you do, the result is better when you're okay, or when you just have a different attitude? And with different, I mean like a good attitude towards it. Even like if shit happens to you, like, and bad things happen even to good people. So if you still have the attitude of, you know what, I use this as a coaching lesson, or hey, how can I do the best out of it? Like kind of like the questions that you ask yourself, because what we're doing on a constant basis is actually like we're evaluating, like actually all the time while we're talking now. Oh, what is my question? Oh, what is my answer? Da da da.
Right.
Oh, what does it mean while you're saying that? I'm trying actively listening, but on my mind something is going on while I'm listening to you.
Right.
So I'm still evaluating all the time. And I can sense my evaluation 10 years ago was like, oh, why does this happen to me? Or I didn't like this. Why did this person leave me? And now it's just like, oh, wow, what can I learn from this? Oh, wonder what this means. We were late coming here. And then circumstances, synchronicities happen. And I love this word synchronicity. It's like you cannot explain it while it's happening, but afterwards, when you look back to it, oh, that's why. And coming back to synchronicity, it was this word actually came from the Swiss psychiatrist Carl Gustav Jung. And this place where we are here, and we're now at Hotel Le Trois, very special place, but it's in Basel. And did you know that Basel had a lot of forward thinkers here? They had Carl Gustav Jung, they had Friedrich Nietzsche, they had Paracelsus, Rudolf Steiner, the one who created those Rudolf Steiner schools. He was here. Hermann Hesse, the guy who wrote Siddhartha. They were all here. So it's a very magical place. Yeah, and now Mike Chang. No.
Yeah, I didn't know any of the history of Basel at all, you know? Yeah.
Also, Albert Hoffman, the guy who invented LSD, or
Really?
who discovered LSD. So he was actually on his way back with the bicycle.
Yeah.
And then he kind of had a drop here, and it came to his face. He kind of did like this. And what happened is it was his first LSD experience. And then, like, just imagine you're on the way home with the bicycle, and then suddenly all the colors and shapes and what's happening here, I don't understand. And this was actually like how he came. Yeah. And this big tower that you saw there, maybe you can see it here from the window, is actually the Roche Tower. So this is kind of like Hoffmann La Roche, which is basically, yeah, where he worked, and it grew with him. And the whole, even like we talked about breathwork in the sauna.
Yeah.
And Stan Grof, who was the father of breathwork, started first with LSD. So
Wow.
he had like those deeply depressed people that couldn't come out of depression, and he started to do like he worked with LSD, and he's like, oh, I could cure those people because they suddenly came out of deep depressions.
Right.
And what happened, the funny thing was, when they kind of said like, okay, we don't want to use external substances, he kind of like observed the body. Okay, what is actually happening while they're taking LSD? And he realized that people who are in those states, they have this shivering, this shaking, similar to what you do. And he's like, oh, how can I get people into this state? Because I see them shivering, shaking, and they're breathing very deep. So let's maybe bring them into a state where they're breathing deep. So he started conscious connected breathing, open mouth breathing, and people got into this altered state without any substances. And that's how breathwork was actually developed. And it was always crazy what came afterwards, because it's kind of like rebirthing, transformational breathwork, alchemy of breath. All those things came with him actually just observing and seeing like, okay, how can you go deeper? What's there? And this is kind of like this human urge. There has to be something more. That's why you went this path of like personal development, spirituality. Like there's much more, and it's
And then what you mentioned about like the shaking, and then I started to notice that shaking was a really quick way to go and settle down the body. And when you look at ancient tribes and you see how they dance, and you see how they're shaking and they're stomping, and we may view it as this is just a tradition and it's just a performance, culture. But then I would ask the question, why did they make it that way? Like all of the major religions that promote fasting, and fasting for God, fasting so this way you can connect deeper. And it's the same idea. It's like when somebody learns about fasting, they know you clear the energy, so this way you're more cleansed, and because your system's not blocked, more amounts of energy allows you to have a higher level of awareness. Therefore, you're able to connect more to the divine, more into a higher sense of self or to God. I mean, so when I started noticing about the way that tribes would move and dance and vibrate, and then I started to look for other signs of people doing that. It started to occur to me, like I started studying massages, and I started to see, people are going, bop, 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 bop. And I was studying different massages. There was there was like the Swedish, and then I forgot which ones were there tapping. I studied to where a technique called neuromuscular release tension, NMRT, and diving into all these different crevices. And it's so painful. And I started to understand, there's a way for us to physically clear the trauma out of the body. Yeah. Physically, there's something issue with the body. Well, physically clear it out. Physically move it. You didn't need to just take something or change your diet or breathe. You can also physically do it. But then some of those techniques were very difficult. It required a lot of knowledge and training. So then I thought, well, how can we make it easier and make it so simple to where anybody can learn it? And then the shaking and the tapping, it's like an introductory. It's not like it will go and solve somebody that has really, really, really problematic things, but it may take care of 70%, maybe 60%. But imagine if somebody could relieve even 50% of their pain with no medication, with no external help. Just like the woman that came up to us at Unity, I forgot her name, but she was waiting while I was showing
She was
Vladimir.
quite a fan of you.
And did you hear how she talked about her shoulder was in tremendous pain. She was seeing all these doctors, nobody could do anything. And then she found my videos on Instagram and started doing the practices. And then in weeks, the shoulder pain's gone. I hear this all the time. This is not like all the time. We have students, a woman named Shanti. She's got to be in like her maybe mid 50s, and she joined one of our retreats in Bali, and we were sitting down, and this was I remember this event. This was right after there's an ecstatic dance that just happened, and we're sitting there having lunch, and she was sharing with us her story about how she couldn't sit down without pain. And she would always have to find the right chair, find the right cushion. She would always have to try to adjust to find comfort because she was never comfortable. And she was sharing, like, she's like, now I'm not in pain anymore. I can stand up, I can sit down. She was showing us standing up, sitting down. And she said, I could never do that before. I would need to stand up slowly. I would need to take my time to try to get rid of the pain before I can move. And now I'm free to move. There's so many people like that, and it's amazing to see they didn't do anything complicated. All they did, like, I don't see shaking and tapping to be complicated. It's like you can't mess it up.
I think that's also the problem, because you're talking about like physical pain that those people experience. But there's, I think, especially in the Western world, a bigger pain, which is the mental, the stress level. And if you see somebody who's like shaking, tapping, doing movement, it's kind of like, oh yeah, very superficial. I want to solve my problem in a mental game.
And they don't connect the dots.
Yeah. And that's kind of like it's like Albert Einstein said, like you can't solve a problem in the level it occurred.
Right.
So the body is the next level because this is where all our traumas, our tension is. Because in every skillful practice, it's all about releasing physical and non-physical tension. Doing the things that you do is actually freeing them, letting go of those samskaras and freeing up more and more and more. Because on the outside, it looks like, okay, body movement, getting fit in shape. No, there's so much more.
Yeah, and the thing is, because the body and mind are connected, so we can change the body to influence the mind. We can change the mind to influence the body. It's, there are people that go into the mind, right? There's like hypnosis to get rid of pains and trauma and all this stuff, so it does work. But I realized something. If we want to use the mind to change the body, then we need to have a high level amount of concentration. We need to be able to embody a certain idea, a state using the mind. Now, if somebody had really good control of the mind, or if there was some type of external support to help a person, definitely it can be possible and it is done. But many people don't have control over their mind. And when they try to, entertain new belief systems or a way of being that's more abundant and more free, their mind argues back with them, and they're sitting there having a debate in their mind. But with the body, there's a little bit less. It's the resistance is more straightforward. It's not as difficult because the mind will come up with things that we have to take on, we have to answer, confront. If we don't have the answer, then we feel doubt. We feel like we can't trust this method. We can't trust ourselves, and then it ends up we have to stop the things we're doing because we don't have an answer to what we're questioning. We come up with a question, we come up with doubt, and we can't answer it.
Yeah.
And there may not be a guru, a coach, somebody around to go, here's what's happening, you can trust it, follow the process. That person might not be around when this person's having this doubt.
Yeah.
But with the body, it's a little more straightforward. Open the body, do certain movements. What you're going to run into is your lack of ability to do it. You're going to run into pain, discomfort, tightness and all of that. That's what you're going to run into. It's very straightforward. It's not like the body is tricking you with something. Your mind will do that, but your body won't. So with the body, all you have to do is just do these simple things, right? These movements, these stretches. And then the obstacle becomes, how can I get myself to do it? How can I get myself to do it? Because I don't have a habit. I don't feel like doing it. So then we need to make we got to make the steps simple. We got to make it super, super small. So this way they can take these tiny steps like we know. And when I'm making content, when I used to do this for bodybuilding all the time. I do these short workouts, and the same thing now. I give people these short little moves that they can do because we just want people to taste
Yes.
that good little feeling because they got to feel it right away. And then that little taste will get them to want a little more, want a little more, want a little more. It's like you follow drug dealers where it's like,
about the same.
hey, here you go.
This is the free
No, it's
sample.
free. It's free. It's free. Here's my card. You can call me when you want more. I'm not even gonna follow up with you. You're gonna love it and you're gonna hit me up. Let's go ahead and deal out these healthy tools and these healthy moves that are simple. It's free. Try it out. And the difference is when you want more, hey, there's more, go ahead, try it out, try it out, try it out. And at some point someone goes, I have a gazillion questions. I've already experienced, I feel good, but I want more. Here we go. Here's my list. What can I do? Then it's like, okay, now you're ready to actually commit to something that's going to require your time, attention, and sacrifice to certain things. Up until then, why try to ask you to do all that? You're not even ready. You haven't you haven't got all the fruits yet. Let's get you some fruits.
And once you taste those fruits, and that's the beautiful thing, is the body is the entrance because once then you want to affect your mind, you have a different clarity.
Yeah.
Because once you tame the body and you build up the discipline, you do the exercises. I see a lot of bodybuilders who started like 10, 15 years ago, started to do those bodybuilding vlogs and everything. They all became successful businessmen Why? Because they had the discipline.
Yeah.
Even if they didn't feel it, they still did it, the necessary things. And that's the same with training. Like if you're like, okay, let's put my body in that state, because once I'm in state, I can think clear, I can be active, I can be there, because we have like 60, 70,000 thoughts a day, but only 1,800 are actually supportive thoughts. So you're going against the machine that does not want to help you. And this is kind of like subconscious. Like you can think consciously about it, but our subconscious is so much strong. And we have enough experts who know this. Like, and Bruce Lipton said it very beautifully. He's like, yeah, you only have like, it's 95% subconscious against the 5% conscious. So you can think about like, I want to be healthy, do the positive affirmations, but then there is like this deep, dark part that just kind of like tries to get you back there. And he's like, there is one moment in life where out of those 95% subconscious actually gets like only like 70% and 30% active conscious thoughts. There is one moment in our life, and that's when we fall in love. Because when we fall in love, the moment you're in front of the mirror, you prepare yourself, you make yourself beautiful, you're looking forward, you're singing the songs in the radio, you're suddenly going a different route, you're doing the extra round of your bicycle because you're completely in love. You see the world differently. It's actually the same world, but it can change from one day to another because you fell in love. And that's, I love this topic of love because it's, I love to read Rumi. And he has like this beautiful quote where he's like, when you become the lover, you will become the beloved of the beloved self. So it's actually one of the most beautiful things to fall in love. Because if I would ask you, Mike, like, think about a time where somebody really loved you. And you think about the time where you got really loved by somebody. It's a nice feeling, but sometimes it can be, it's a little bit too much. Especially if you have a certain fame, it can be a little much. But you loving somebody, gosh, is there a better feeling than loving somebody with your whole heart? And it's kind of like, it's a different feeling.
The interesting thing about is love is the opposite side of love, right? Which is heartbreak when they leave, right? Love is wonderful to have, but then so many people experience, loss at the same time. So when I've been through that cycle a lot before, and then I started to learn that there's a big difference between conditional and unconditional. And everybody's heard of unconditional love. But if somebody was to truly be able to do unconditional love, then they have to not not need love from the other person. And so what that means is like if I don't need love from the other person and I can still feel okay about who I am, I can feel at peace, then that means the reason I'm feeling at peace is not because you love me, it's because I love me. But to get to be more refined with that idea, to love me, to love myself, the ultimate one is to be okay with myself, to accept myself. Because how can you love yourself if you're not even okay with who you are? Every aspect. And so many people, personal development, we're in this world of it. And I can't tell you the amount of people that tell me that they're going to work on themselves and constantly improve till the day they die. And they're so proud of it. But what they don't realize is that if they're focusing on improving, then they're constantly telling themselves unconsciously that I'm not okay the way I am right now and that I need to be better. And then therefore, when I'm better, I'll be okay. When I'm better, I'm going to fully love myself. So then, if they were to fall in love, they're happy because this person makes them feel better about themselves. But the moment that this person stops giving love in whatever shape or form that they would like to receive it, they now feel upset, lost. And then that's the type of relationship dynamic that happens so often. So then when a person is okay with who they are at this moment right now, then the next thing they ask is, well, then how can I improve if I'm okay? You know, don't I need to have a drive to improve? Then I would tell this person, I go, well, you don't improve because you want to improve. Because let's say we can sit on this couch and we're gonna get really good at doing breath work. Yeah, and let's talk about the reasons why. Let's do it. Yeah, yeah. Well, until we do breath work, nothing's gonna happen.
Yeah.
So we gotta sit here and we gotta start breathing. We gotta go do this stuff. But if we want to do it, it doesn't matter how bad we want to do it. Nothing happens. So then if a person goes, I want to improve and be such a great person, yes, because of all these reasons, until the actions that create the improvement, until that happens, nothing is actually moving forward. So then in other words, the things that we do improves us, not the desire. The actual action itself, not the desire of improvement.
Does the desire come first? You know, there
So-
has to be a certain thought.
Right. So then we go, right, because that becomes a natural next question. So then we'll go, okay, yes, there's got to be a desire in order to do something. So imagine that we decide we're gonna go swim in that lake. Now we can come up with many desires for reasons to swim in the lake. The action is to swim in that lake. But now let's go and come up with the reasons on why we would do it. And we can list a lot of different ones. One of them could be so we can improve on swimming, right? But there can be a lot of other reasons that have nothing to do with us improving on swimming in a lake. Hey, we're gonna swim in a lake because we need to film some content. It's all about the content. Okay, great. We're gonna go swim in a lake because, hey, I want to experience Basel, you know, in that perspective. Because being in a lake, you can see the city a little bit differently when you're standing on dry ground. Nothing to do with improving on swimming. But if you get into a lake, you're gonna swim. And if you swim, you're going to practice swimming. You'll get better at swimming. There's so many other reasons for doing an action. It doesn't have to be so I can improve, so I can be different.
Okay.
You see?
Because I always hear like the why is very important, you know.
Right.
Simon Sinek and like why are like it the how is not so important, but like why are we doing things? And we were talking about breakups. When I had the breakup, what happened with me is like I start to question everything, my whole life, my decisions, and then like, okay, why? Okay, what's my intention actually? What do I want? What kind of girl do I want? Basically, every heartbreak is also something good in my opinion because it kind of like, especially as a guy, like okay, you start to focus on work again, you go to gym and you just try different things and you rethink and then different why comes up because I tend to be like lazy when I'm in a relationship. Oh, I love your belly. Just let's eat some popcorn and watch that movie and let's just chill. Let's do a spa night. You know, it's kind of like it's a different attitude. When you're a guy again, it's kind of like, no, I have to hustle and then you have a certain why again. But I love that you had this part of like, fuck this part, do the action, do what's necessary.
Come up with another reason.
Come up with another reason.
The reason doesn't have to be that I need to be different.
Oh, it should not be something that is related to you. That's
It doesn't need to be related to my personal gain.
yeah.
Remember we talked about it earlier. It doesn't
Yeah.
have to be my personal gain.
Yeah.
We're always gonna gain
Yeah.
in everything we do.
Yeah.
You know?
You're not coming from lack. It's just it's a different. It's not like I need this, and it comes from that desperate neediness place of like I need this to become something, to become somebody, to show them
To be more.
Yeah.
We're always gonna be more in everything we do. Everything. We don't need to focus on the fact that we're gonna do more. You know, like in business, we serve customers. We create products and services that provide value for customers. Now, we can focus on how to give more value to customers, how to create happier customers, or we can focus on how to make more money. Both of them will inquire to do both parts, create more value and make money. Both of it will happen. But we've been in business long enough to where you can recognize by looking at people's marketing, looking at people's models, you can see which part are they heavily focused on,
Oh, yes.
right?
Like subtle energies where you can, especially you could probably sense it because you're out there. You've been there for some time. You can sense what's the intention, what's the overall energy. You pay into that karmic account. There is some morphic field around. You can sense it.
I mean, or you can see sales funnels
Yeah.
to where you can't seem to click out of it unless you hit buy. How do I click out of this? No, I don't want buy. I want. Where's the X button? I'm just pop up, pop up, pop up. It's like if your product was that good, if you just focus that energy, instead of creating this maze of a funnel, if you just put that energy into building better products and creating a better customer experience, a stronger community, more trust, people will want to buy on their own. You don't need to go ahead and put them in a freaking box.
Oh yeah.
But that's just an example, right? But we're always going to gain either way. So if we're going to gain either way, what do we focus on? Right? The reason. If we focus on creating happier customers, you make more money. If you focus on trying to make more money, you make more money. But how you do things is different based on what you focus on. And so if we go swim in the lake every single day, we're going to get better at swimming. But the reason why we go swim in the lake determines how that event is going to occur, and it determines how we see ourselves in the world. But the swimming in the lake part will happen every single day. But we're doing it because it's cold and we want to feel good in the cold because it's great for our health. Or we are going there because we want to get better at swimming. Or we're going there because we need to create content. Or we want to go there because our friend Liz really wants to get better at swimming and we want to support her. So we're going to go because we know that she won't go by herself. So we're going to support her and encourage her. And we promise we're going to go 2 weeks every day in a row. We don't care about the swimming. We're not even filming it. There's no content. But we just want to support our friend. So we go swim every day, right? There's so many reasons. But the fact is, if we did swim every day, we get better at swimming. So the reasoning. People are so used to thinking about their own gain that they have a hard time being able to focus on another reason why to do something. And when they practice not focusing on their own gain as much, not completely, we're human, we've got egos and senses of self, so it's not like it's going to be complete. But if they just did it a little bit less, then they're not so attached to the outcome of the event, the action.
Yes. It's not related to you.
It's not related.
Yeah.
It was about Liz. Liz decided she don't want to swim anymore. Well, that's fine. We're only swimming. No, we're going to stop swimming now.
Yeah.
We stopped that for 7 days because she goes, I'm done.
Yeah.
Well, sure. I wasn't gaining anything. It wasn't about me. I was doing it for her.
It comes from that enough place, and it's different because I know when I had my rituals and my schedules and I have to do this to be this and to become this, and so I'm getting liked, and so I'm okay with myself, and I'm like, oh, actually you could take a shortcut being okay with yourself from the get-go, from the first place, and that's where you start. And so everything comes with more ease, everything flows more.
Yeah.
And it just, there's not this force energy we have.
No
to
more
force. It's come from power. Yeah.
Unnecessary pressure. It's
Ourselves giving ourselves pressure.
Yeah.
And nobody even cares. We think everybody cares. Everybody's so busy about their own life that they don't care about our life. They're not thinking about us like the way only we are thinking about ourselves.
Yes, I know. That's
Why even do it? That's the thing, And it's like, I think when people realize that, then they have like a bullseye to aim for. Accomplishing it is another story. That takes work. But I don't believe that most people understand that. I think they are still looking at focusing on themselves, focusing on getting better, constantly needing to improve, and therefore they're always in the way of everything they do. But they don't want to get in the way because they want to do things well, but they don't know how to get themselves out of the way. And so they're in like this contradicting loop.
It's like you're doing a presentation. Oh, I didn't get liked in the 7th grade. Now I show them. And now you kind of have to overcome a challenge that you put on yourself. It's kind of like, and that's kind of like the mind fuck that we give ourselves, or at least I do, because I know the self-talk that I had with myself in the past, where you kind of had to overcome things.
Correct.
But the moment you actually realize, hey, you're the only one who's telling yourself this story of you have to overcome something and challenges, and you have to show somebody.
Right.
It changes everything.
You know, people sometimes ask me, like, do I plan? You know, and I actually don't plan much. You know, when we did the talk and he sent me that, and I looked through it and I go, this is solid, okay, but then that's it. I put it away. I didn't go, I'm gonna study this. I didn't. You know, and then today when we were there, like I looked through it a couple times. Okay, this. And I'm like, right. Well, I know this format because I speak in this format all the time. Okay, so I don't know. I'm just gonna, and I go, oh yeah, there's that physical practice part. Okay, sure. And then that's it. That wasn't planning. There wasn't much. And then, but what I do is I'm prepared all the time. I'm practicing all the time. That I do it constantly. I practice so much to the point to where I don't need to plan.
I see that. I see that in everyday life. We went out, we ate, we did a lot of things today. And the way you're in front of the camera is the way you're outside. So it's not something you put in the work, the reps in everyday life. So, because in my opinion, there's 2 different kind of meditations. There's the one where you sit down for 20 minutes, don't think about anything. And then there's the other one that I prefer to do, which goes on for 24 hours. Yeah. And this is something when I observed you, the way you're outside with people, the way you talk with them, the way you're with me, is also the way you're in front of the camera.
Yeah.
And then it doesn't take you actually work. It's just like you sharing stuff and you being you, which is one of the biggest art. You're being you.
Yeah, it just makes everything easier. So on cam, off cam, we just be ourselves. But then the practicing being ourselves. So it's like, well, so if you practice being yourself, then how can you do those things? Well, then I'm always doing those things. I'm always looking for opportunities to help somebody, to support somebody. If I'm feeling a little off, let me go and get rid of the tension. Let me go and train. Let me go and do those moves that I show all the time. I'm doing it all the time. So it's like there's nothing I need to remember or try to come up with. And because I do so many different ones, so it's very, very diverse. Someone says, I got this one. Here, let me help you do it this way, that way. Because I'm filming every single day. So filming is just part of normal life. So I don't care if there's a camera around. I don't care if it's like, hey, you ready to do it? I'm always ready. Let's go. And because it's just now a normal day. There's nothing special about it. So then now, another way we can say it is that we don't need to care. I don't care. When we don't care about doing a crappy job, then what's the worst that can happen? I say something, or I forget to say something, or I look funny, or somebody sees that I have black, gray feet. Sure, great. Talk about it. They go, haha, you have black feet. Yes, I do. Wow, your feet stepped on everywhere. Yes, it has. Wow, your feet's really dirty. Yes, it is. Wow, well, I wouldn't want feet like that. No, you wouldn't.
Love it.
And then what?
Yeah.
And then what? Let me tell you about when I take a shower. I rarely use soap. I use water and I just scrub. I use the brush. Thank you for I forgot who her name was. Gave me the dry brush. I use a brush and I scrub with the brush because soap's got so much stuff on it. You know what? I use it sometimes, but besides that, I just scrub with it. And they go, oh, well, I wouldn't do that. No, I just do that. Don't care. And it's like, so then I'm able to just share what I do. And if somebody doesn't like it, it doesn't matter. It's like, I remember who did I hear it from? I heard it from a few different people, but it was the first time I heard this. I remember I didn't understand this concept, but I remember the first time I actually remember this concept. It was during my six-pack shortcut days. I was in the office, and my COO, him and I were having a conversation, and he said, Mike, I've got this friend that, man, he's he's doing so much. He's doing all these things. He's handling this. And it was like just all these challenges. And he told me, he's like, and he was able to do it so well. And I said, well, what's he doing? He's like, you know what? He just told me he just doesn't care. He just doesn't care about anything. He really doesn't care about anything. And that's what he told me. And I go, really? He goes, yeah. He just doesn't care. And so he just does these things. But he told me the key thing is he just doesn't care. And I would go, huh, that's interesting. And I always remembered it, but I didn't kind of put two to two together, because how can you not care, and create all of these things? Like, I care like crazy, let me tell you about how much I care. So, and this was like many years ago. So now looking back, I've had all of these little talks and these experiences and these learnings, and now I understand when people talk about the idea of not caring, they feel like they're a bad person. You got to care about people. You got to care about the planet. You got to care about these things. Don't say you don't care. No. That's bad. All right. But because they have this idea of, if you don't care, that means you're going to be mean. You're going to treat people wrong. You're not going to help people in need because you don't care. Yes, from a state of lack, fear, from a state of stress, when you are stressed and you have all these issues and you don't care about other people, who are you going to worry about? Yourself, because something's wrong with you. You're pain, you have these issues, the world is shrinking in your head. If you don't care about other people, if I stop caring, then forget everybody else, right? Yeah. Because I have these problems. Yeah. But what people don't realize is that when somebody stops caring about how they are, how they look, how they appear, and they're okay with who they are because they stop caring about trying to be a certain way, then all of the stress and the fear, all the worries go away. Oh, yes. And then so the act of not caring allows a person to be at peace. And when a person is at peace, now they don't care to hurt people. They don't care to harm people, because they now, when they are okay with who they are, now they're able to love themselves. And when a person has love on the inside, the expression of them and the way they talk and they act has love behind it. And it doesn't look like a person who's trying to get love, because that one feels kind of desperate. There's like this clinginess, versus when a person really is okay who they are, they express in a way that where I don't need anything. And that type of expression is true love. And when they see somebody and hear something else, someone goes, okay, but I don't connect the dots to how you'll help people. When a person is okay with who they are, they're fully connected to their physical body. They're fully connected to themselves. They can fully feel. Because a person can't feel very well if they're in tremendous fear. Yeah. Their body will try to not feel that because it's too uncomfortable. It's too much suffering. When a person released all of that, they're fully connected to themselves. They are fully feeling. Their sensitivity in feeling is really high. Now, anytime when they think about something mean to another person, they feel bad. Anytime when they do something that would harm somebody, they feel it. So automatically, they can't harm people. They can't, because when they harm somebody, they harm themselves. They literally feel the pain that they're creating for somebody. Yes. But people don't realize that. So then they go, if you don't care, you're a bad person. They don't realize what actually happens when a person stops caring.
I once heard that. It was a very beautiful quote. It said, like, in life, you should care, but not that much. And what it means is like, hey, you're not taking yourself so seriously. Because I catch myself when I was in that serious state of stress, doubt, and everything, and fears. And what happens is mostly you're completely with your thoughts. You're completely in your own inner world. The moment you go outside, the moment you connect with people, it's just a different vibe. But the stories you tell yourself, the moment you're stressed, everything is very serious. You're taking yourself very seriously. And something I learned was really like taking myself less seriously. The thoughts that come up, not identifying, just knowing, okay, this is coming and this is going. The moment things get serious, you cannot connect to other people. And that's why I love body work or breath work, because what it does is like the options are very narrow if you're in the survival mind. what happens is like it's only black and white. The moment I have a live call and the camera doesn't work, what happens is like I'm like, okay, why does this shit doesn't work? Why doesn't it work? Why doesn't it work? And I'm like, okay, did you maybe plug it in? Like easy stuff like this won't come up because you're so much in a survival mode where you have to function, and then the options get smaller and smaller. And that's why we tend to fight with our loved ones when you are in the survival mode, because what happens is like you get triggered very fast. And that's why it's, in my opinion, very, very important. And that's when you said like you shouldn't care that much. What does it mean? The moment you have a bigger vision, the moment you're like, hey, actually, let's say Mother Teresa, who cared about like other people being healthy and well, if she has a bigger vision, if somebody takes her place in the line or the parking slot, she doesn't care because her vision is way bigger. And I once heard this thing of like, hey, when you don't stand for anything, you will fall for everything. So if you have this bigger vision, all those things that we now think like, okay, what do people think about myself? Those lower thoughts of like, hey, how do I look like? Is everything okay? How does my hair look like? You're completely with yourself. So you do not have the bigger vision. So that's kind of like how I see it. The moment you really have something bigger you're going towards to, you let go of all that ridicule stuff.
Our awareness expands outside of myself, my life, my stuff, my gains, it expands way beyond that. Expanded amount of awareness. What you said right there, when we get upset, our possibilities shrink down. If a person wants to be creative, if they want to be good at problem solving, if they want to be able to be more solution orientated, don't get mad. Because if you do, what you said right there, you're not gonna figure anything out. You're gonna feel like you're hitting you're bumping your head against the wall because you literally just killed all of your ability to access options. It's not that they don't exist, it's that you can't access it.
That's why Anthony said emotional intelligence means to breathe when you don't want to. Because in that state, you don't actually want to. And it's very easy for me to say, oh, this is the way you should act and this is the way you should be loving, because we're all the best in coaching others. But when it comes to my life, if I would do all the things that I'm recommending other people to implement in their life, I will be extremely successful. I will probably rule the world. Not that I want to do that, but it will be crazy because it's always somehow easier. But once you're in that state and the emotion kicks in and the and all the adrenaline and everything, you could just sense that your body and your mind is not functioning in the same way. So that's why I love that you have those practices that can actually ground you, bring you into clarity, so you come from a different place.
You know how the people that are really passionate about self-care practices or a certain cause, whatever it is, most of the time we talk about reason, right? Most of the time it's because they were suffering so much from the thing that they're helping people with.
Your biggest pain becomes your biggest lesson.
I was sharing earlier, I used to have so much rage. I had a nickname. People called me the Hulk. Not because I was big and muscular, but because when I drink and get drunk, I smash everything.
Really?
People, like, when they meet me today, the people that knew me, I'm a different person. It's an entirely different person. Like, to give you some context of how crazy it was, give you some examples. For fun, I used to walk down the street and I would break side mirrors off cars. I just walk down, break, break, break. Let me warm up with my left arm. Boom, boom. I would just break them as I just walking down the road. I would do that. Like, seriously. And then
If like 20, 25 years ago, your mirror got broken, now you know.
now I know I am so sorry. Send me the bill. If you still have that car, there's a chance that might have been me.
Wow.
Houston, Texas. I had so much anger inside that I wanted to destroy things. When I was a kid, I mean, this is like, I'm in my 20s. When I was a kid, I would have slingshots, and I would slingshot and I would break mirrors, glass, doors, windows, boom, 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 boom. I would have water balloons. When I was even younger, I had water balloons, and I would throw them into, and then they would land on cars. Boom. I would do so much destructive things. I learned how to patch up holes to walls at a really early age because I would break walls all the time. Doors, walls, chairs, you name it. I'm always bloody knuckled, just all dinged up. So when I argued with my girlfriend, it takes me 2.5 days to get over it. It can be a small argument, 2.5 days, because we fight at night, because we work in the daytime, come home, fight, don't talk to each other, go to sleep. Next day, wake up, don't say anything. Next day at night, fight, and then go to sleep. Next day, wake up, don't talk to each other, and then the next night, make up. Everything's fine. This was the cycle. I've done this for too long, so many years. I remember when I first learned about how to let go of pent-up emotions, how to let go of anger, and that all I needed to do was to relax and to just actually feel it. Don't try to push it away, suppress it. Just feel it. Just be okay with it being there. And I remember I'm on the phone, and my girlfriend was there, and we were talking, and we got into this argument. And then we hung up, and I was upset enough. Not like I want to smash everything, but I was upset enough, and I was thinking, okay, I'm a little pissed off. Maybe this is a time to go and practice this method I've been learning. Okay, so I set a stopwatch on my phone, and I hit start, and I close my eyes, and I was slowly breathing, following my breath, and just trying to let go and relax my body. And I just kept doing that and just trying to feel it. And I remember feeling the tension would rise, and then it would come back down. Rise, and then just come back down. And just kept doing that until finally it came back down and it didn't rise anymore. And I was just sitting there breathing, feeling, just making sure it wasn't going to rise in the next 20 seconds. It didn't. And then I remember I opened my eyes and I looked. The stopwatch said 8 minutes. I was blown away because that confrontation, that was a 2.5 day thing.
And you did it immediately.
I did it immediately, 8 minutes. I remember going, man, I spent so many years of my life in conflict, especially with my girlfriends that I loved, and here I can get rid of it in 8 minutes. So I was blown away. And then fast forward, but I wasn't super pissed. I was just upset. Now fast forward about a couple months later, we're at this Airbnb. I clearly remember this place because the picture looked really nice. We showed up, there's a giant power line right in front of the front door. But they were really good at taking pictures. They didn't show that part. So we're in there and we're talking. We got into an argument. I remember we're sitting on the ground and I'm getting angrier and angrier and angrier. And as we keep going, I'm like, well, this. And then I balled up my fist. I raised it up in the sky and I'm about to start smashing. I'm about
like
to
the Hulk. He has like
literally, I would just be smashing the ground until turned bruised. And so I went, and then I looked at her, and she looks at me like, and then I let go of my fist, and I come back down, and then I'm just like breathing heavily and like glaring my eyes, and she looks at me, and she's like, Mike, I think we should take a little break. And I look at her, and it's like, I want to strangle you, and it's like, yeah, I think you're right. So then I walk into the bedroom and I start to do my practice. And my practice at the time was about 60 minutes or so. And usually in 60 minutes, I'm feeling good. So then I do the shaking, and all this stuff. And then at the end, I'm sitting in meditation. I feel better, but it was still there. I was still upset. I can pretty much open my eyes, go outside, and start it up again. I was like, no. What should I do? Well, I feel better, so I just keep going. So then I kept going, just did other moves again, and just free flowed and stretched and breathed and tapped. And then I'm sitting in meditation, feeling it out. I feel better, but not good enough. It's still there. So then I keep going. And then finally, I don't know how long I'm in the room for, and I'm sitting in meditation, And that's how I check to see how am I doing, right? Being in stillness. And I remember I'm feeling good, so I just kept sitting there. And after about 15 minutes, I'm still feeling good. And I realize everything is gone. And I'm sitting there, and I just feel peaceful. And I was like, wow, I got rid of it. I mean, I was about to start smashing everything. And here I am, feeling peaceful. I open my eyes, and I'm just like sitting there in the room. And first I realized there was nothing that needs to be solved. Because before that, things need to change. We need to make these rules. Our relationship goes, okay, from now on, we need to, we can't do this anymore. We need to set ground rules. And I opened my eyes and I realized none of it was needed. and I was like, wow, okay.
You changed and the whole world around you changed.
So then I walked out of the room. I looked at my phone. I was in there for 3 hours. I've been practicing nonstop for 3 hours. I go, 3 hours. And then I walked outside and I see her. I still remember it was like almost golden hour. Sunset was coming down. The power line was right there. And she was just kind of gazing at the sun. And then I just walk up next to her and where she has her arm on the deck. And I just next to her. And then I'm just looking at the sun as well. And then I look at her. She looks at me and I go, I'm sorry about earlier. And she looks at me, she's like, that's okay. That was it. No other thing was said about the conversation and the argument and fight. That experience was massive. It was huge. Because the first one, maybe because I'm not that upset, I can let go of it.
Yeah.
But that level of rage where I'm about to start breaking everything, to go from that to being totally peaceful, yes, it did take 3 hours. But what I realized is the possibility of it can be done. It doesn't matter how charged up I am, doesn't matter what state, I can always return back to peace. But what it took was focus, determination, constantly going, releasing, until finally it was gone. So it wasn't easy. I can't expect anybody just to drop in and do 3 hours of practice. No, absolutely not.
Yeah.
I'm a special type of person. I train a lot. So that I clearly know. But what I want people to know is that it can happen. If you were determined enough to get rid of your anger and your pain and your stress and your depression and your sadness and fear, if you're determined enough, you can do it. You can do it. Now, if you didn't train as much as I did, it might take you longer. Or you may not have been as upset as me. You may not have that level of rage inside. Mine might just be a little more amped up. It may take you less, but it can happen. Somebody can get rid of it. They can go from any state, how crazy it is, to peace, to feeling calm. Anybody can do it. That was the realization from that experience. After that, I realized if I want to come back to peace at any time, no matter how agitated I am, I can. All it takes is doing the practice to release it. And again, it doesn't have to be that practice, but it needs to be something that can release the tension, that can calm us down, that can get us back into a meditative state where our mind is not chattering with all the issues. Whatever it takes. I have the method that I was showing, but it doesn't have to be that. But no matter what, a person can get back to it. Use the tools that you have, right? Somebody likes to do this, do that. You like to do it this style, do that. But no matter what, anybody can return back. And I think if people realized it, there's going to be some people that just go, well, I can't, and then that's it. And then there's going to be some people that are determined enough that goes, you sure you can do it? Because if I know I can do it, I'm going to do it. I'm going to try, right? Because they got the willpower. It's just that they never knew it was possible. And that experience that I had made me realize it is possible. And since then, this is like seven years ago, I've shared this with so many people, and there are so many people that have shared with me stories about going from so much trauma and just being so upset to being totally peaceful, because they realize that it's possible now. Because if not, like somebody would have stopped.
Yeah.
They train for an hour, they would stop. They go, it doesn't work. No, it works if you keep going. If you keep going, see, people will stop early. It's like, you ever seen the pictures of somebody digs and the gold's right here and they stop? There's not there. So that is a message I want to tell everybody. It can happen, but it will take determination. It will take a lot of willpower, but it can happen.
That's everything that's needed, huh? I mean, was it a moment for you where it clicked, or would you say it's kind of like more of a dimmer that it just became less and less and less?
With that day,
switch.
with that day, it was just clearing it and having less and less and less. Because when I did my normal practice, I was sitting there 60 minutes in, I felt better, but not good enough because I was just so mad. It's just like, it's where, you get into a fight with somebody, then you take a little break, you feel better, but you can go right into it, charge it up again. That's how it was. I felt better, but I can charge it up again. And I knew if I walk out of the room, all I have to do is exchange some few words, and then we start to bring it back up.
Okay.
So it was chipping it away little by little. It wasn't like just one instance gone. It was just constantly feeling a little better, a little better, a little better, until eventually it was gone completely. And I'm sitting there feeling peaceful. And then the way that I saw the situation totally changed. And I realized nothing needed to be said. There was no problems. It was just because I was upset. It's just so crazy. It's like, man, people, I wish people would just try and just do it. And if they just knew how it would change everything in their life. But then the hardest part is to get somebody to do it. That's the hardest part.
It's the first step. Takes the most energy.
People will agree. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, that makes sense. Let's try. Oh no, not right now. I don't got the right.
Tomorrow, New Year.
I don't have my workout. I don't want to sweat. I don't want to sweat.
We're in the sauna with clothes before.
Yeah.
I love this. Yeah. One more question to you, Mike. You have a big following on Instagram, so you're well known, especially through this channel. You do a lot of movement there, and this topic of authenticity is quite big nowadays when it comes to Instagram. What does it mean to you? Because I mean, it's one thing to say like being authentic, and then like I think somehow as humans we all play roles. You're the guy who's performing something on stage, and I think we play roles by performing, because if you have a headache and people are expecting from you to perform, then you can't just say I have headaches. I don't feel like it. I'm just me being me, which is authentic. But we all play roles. How important do you think it is to be authentic nowadays, but maybe from a place where you have, let's say, the best parts of you authentically, not like the lower parts?
I think a person needs to do they should always follow what they want. They should always do what they want, do their best. People think that other people are trying to stop them from doing what they want, but it's themselves. People really aren't creating so many boundaries and so many things. If a person is doing what they want, that's what authenticity really is. People are saying what they want, doing what they want. If you want to help, help. If you don't want to help, don't help. Sometimes I will go and give money to homeless people on the street. Sometimes I don't. There's not this program that I have to. No, I don't. Sometimes I want to help, and sometimes I don't feel like it, so I don't. Sometimes I eat really healthy. No, thank you. I'm gonna eat clean. I'm gonna fast. Sometimes I'm on the whole diet, whole cakes, whole tubs of ice cream, whole pizzas. I think this level of like freedom that's what authenticity I find really is when we really don't care about how we show up, because we're not thinking about this label of I am this, I am that. Because in reality, we're everything. We're every single thing. If you clean a toilet before, you're a janitor. If you clean a dish, and now you're a maid. It's like, oh, your brother, your son, you're everything. everybody is so many roles. So therefore, to say you are this or I am that is to say that we're not recognizing that we are everything else as well. And there's no point to put ourselves in these boxes. And then suddenly we're having to try to act like the role that we put ourselves in. It's so limiting. There's no need. We are everything. So if we're everything, then why pigeon ourselves in this little box? Let that go. And then therefore we become free to act in what we want to act in that moment. Like something spills, something, I go and clean it up. But if I go, I'm a speaker, I'm this, there's a spill, but I'm not going to clean it up. It's like, well, what happened if part of you wants to clean it up, but you don't let yourself clean it up because you don't want to look like you're somehow less because you're cleaning the floor? It's like
story in your head.
It's so crazy you think about it. Like, what are you talking about? That doesn't mean anything. Well, people might think, well, you know what? The only people that think that are the people that have got issues in their own head. They're the ones that are judgment. You don't really need to care about what they think, because no matter what, they're going to always create some issue. They're going to talk shit about you, or they'll talk shit about somebody else. They're always doing that. Who cares, It's like a person who is doing this all the time and you get in their way and suddenly you take it personal that they're punching you, but this person does this all day long. So all you have to do, you want to get punched, just stand in front of this person. You're going to take it personal? That's just how this person is. That's them. Let them be them. And then what it does is we get to be free. We get to do what we want at the time we want to do it. And being free feels nice. Who wants to be trapped?
Thank you, Mike. It was a pleasure listening to you, and I love just spending time with you because I just sense like just being with you, the body around you becomes, my body at least, becomes also more relaxed just by experiencing you. You can call it mirror neurons or what it is, but just by you seeing like every chance that we got, we're ordering food, we're walking down the streets, you're doing your movements, you're loosening up, you're being present, you're relaxing, and that's just like beautiful and joyful to see that you're embodying it. It's not just you're teaching it, you're talking about it on stage or something. No, you're doing it on a daily basis, and that's just beautiful to watch.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Well, thank you for this whole experience, to this beautiful place. Introduced me to all these fabulous people. It's such a pleasure.
Pleasure. Thank you.
Yes.